Thank you so much for everyone that's tuned in. Welcome back, welcome back. It is Wednesday, March 3rd, and it's March, right? We are in this thing that I did not see us being in, last year, right? So March last year, we were finding out around this time about the true impact that the novel coronavirus had created in the United States, and we were beginning the lockdown here in Colorado. I'm in Denver, Colorado area, so we were beginning the lockdown, and just so much was changing in our world. And then not too long after, the mask, right? And when they said lockdown because the virus is lingering, I envisioned that thing lingering over the clouds. So the beginning, you couldn't get me to go anywhere. It was real difficult to get me to move around. and here we are a year later, and we're still in the pandemic with unsure in the air as to when we will go back to a sense of normal. But indeed, we will never go back to what life was before, right? So, if you're hearing me right now, and you're sitting at home, and you're not in the hospital, and you're not in any position where this has really impacted you, that you're here and you are looking for a reason to celebrate anything in this day, then I just gave it to you, love. Like, you are here right now. And that is something that a lot of people cannot say, right? Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started with today's topic. So here it goes. It did not end because it did not work out. I know. That is something that by the majority, you all are used to saying that. You all are used to saying that. Singles, this is really for you, recently broke up in a relationship that had lasted for a long time, recently divorced in a marriage that lasted, whether short or long, especially when it comes to marriage, right? To say that it did not work out is usually a normal phrase. I don't know if it's something that, as a across the board, people do to dismiss any additional questions coming, because people tend to see the photos of the couple delete off of Instagram. They no longer see you sharing on social media. Your Facebook turns into a solo photo. Like, a lot of questions can come up, and sometimes people just say, it's not your business. And because it's not your business, I'm just going to dismiss you with an answer. But for those of you who actually sit in this perception that your relationship ended because it did not work out, I need you to move away from that. And the reason why I need you to move away from that, because I feel that you are not going to see the lesson. And I fear that if you decide to move on, you're going to move on with that in you, and you're going to have that thought process when this and that begins to happen. It didn't work out, time to end it. It's not working out, time to end it. And so you begin this whole habitual way of being in relationships. It didn't work out, so I'm out. It didn't work out, so this is why it ended. And you begin to think like that. And there's so much more. So I am going to do my best to articulate to my listeners what I believe that you're not seeing if you're stuck in this mindset that the reason why your relationship ended was because it did not work out. There's so much more behind the relationship ending, right? Okay, here's one thing that we will make sure that we do, right? So for sure, we're going to make sure that anyone that has become a widow or widower, I am definitely, there is a place for us, but this is not going to be that place, because I'm really strictly coming to have a conversation with people who've had a recent breakup with their lover, right? And it could just someone that, it's a little different. Life hits different when our soldier is killed at war and we get a knock on the door. Like that's a different life, and so we're gonna park that for just a few. Not that it is not important, and how could anyone ever think that this United States Army widow would ever think that that's not important? It is. We just have a place for those things, and that won't be in this conversation, right? So when the relationship ends, things led up to it ending. Usually, there are a handful of people. Even no, just that's. I won't even say usually. When the relationship comes to an end, things happen. Both lovers, something happened. The dynamics of who they are, it changed. One person may be moving on smoothly with the way things are and thinking that it's some type of norm and willing to stick along with it. Let me tell you something that one of my team members posted, and she doesn't even know I'm going to read this out, but it was something that she said yesterday, and we're going to share that. Just give me just a second. So something happened, and one person said, that on this road, just imagine this road, and you guys are going on along this road, right? And it's going in one direction, and you guys are in two different cars. You're always sitting in two different cars, right? But most of the time you're riding on the road and you're not racing. You shouldn't be. You're just riding along, just door to door, like even on the road. And at some point, especially when we look back at relationships that ended, at some point, the road came to this part where there was an exit, and it just popped up out of nowhere, and it wasn't on the GPS, it wasn't planned, it wasn't what you expected to do in the relationship, and out of nowhere, that one lover took that exit. But you are so caught up and you're so comfortable with the way that things are, you don't even see that they took the exit, but they took the exit. So they're out of there, and they're miles and miles away from that route that you were on. And you're still on it, thinking everything is A-okay, right? At some point in relationships, one of the lovers is going to make a decision, and that lover is going to come to the conclusion, and it's not because it didn't work out. That's not the only thing that went down, right? That's a comfortable thing. When that lover took the exit and moved on and said, I'm out, the person is still the person coming to the realization that the relationship is ended needs to reflect deeply on more than just it didn't work out. You need to be really, really, really focusing on things that you did or did not bring to the table. That's huge. That is very important. What did you bring to the table? What could you have done better? Did you listen to the grievance when that person said no more? Were you the person that said no more? And if you said no more, what did they bring to the table? What did they not bring to the table? It didn't work out. Don't stop there. Especially before you get in the next relationship with the next lover. You need to explore what? What? Not just it. It did not work out. I don't talk about him. I don't deal with no thought. I don't want to hear about her in the conversation. Dismissal. Not dealing. Not coping. Drink. High. Not dealing. And not dealing with what happened. Addressing it head on. It could be that you're trying to figure out what happened, and you could be the what happened. That's about as simple as I could put it. You could be the what happened, right? So it could be that something you were doing and you could have did it better. There's a way that you could have approached it better. There's a way that you could have looked at it differently, heard that person. Okay, so that's when we go over for a brief second. Let's share with team member Shay. This is my fiance's cousin. And she said something profound. And she did a post about 24 hours ago, right? And she said, when you're in a relationship and your significant other is letting you know what makes them feel this or that way, they are not complaining. They are letting you know what needs to be connected so your future together can be great. They're telling you. She said, take time to correct it now, because eventually that person is going to get tired of feeling those ways. And when they finally get the courage to stop dealing with it, you will be feeling hurt the most because you're the one that ignored all those signs that you thought was just complaining. Moral of the story, she says, do what you got to do to make your home happy. Stop always thinking your significant other is complaining when they really are just trying to better you guys as a couple, as a whole. So let's go over there. Used on podcast today. All right, shout out to team member Shay. That's the cousin to be, right? Fiance's cousin. So listen, people tell you things. You saw an interview that I did recently with Love and Marriage, Huntsville, Alabama, Martell Holt, in regards to the affair that he had. And his wife, Melody, appears through the episodes to be shocked, to be caught off unaware. And he says in the interview with me, and he says on the show, I tried to tell you. And she says something along the lines of, you should have took me, sat me down and shook me. No, that's not how all people communicate. People don't owe you that much to get your attention. You call it ghosted, they call it moved on. Some people do ghost, not to make light of that activity that happens in dating world, singles, but they tried to tell you. And when they were trying to get their needs met, and I could take it, and let's just go into our relationship. There was a point when Honey was trying to tell me, these are the needs that I feel like I need these needs met. And I hear you, and I hear where you are, but hey, there's some things here's where I need, and I wasn't listening. And I had to pay the price of whatever it is that was felt at the time of finding out that he went and cheated. I can't say affair because we're not married, but he definitely went and cheated. I had to learn those lessons. That's how I could sit here with you today, to ask you to sit in your truth, to explore what you did or did not do in that relationship. The good that is said, you better really enhance that. And even in your bad, it can't be so ugly that it's disruptive. We talked about that the other episode, right? The toxic yelling, the toxic disrespect, talking crazy to your lover in public. It appears to be tone deaf when I say, who raised y'all? So let me, because everyone knows Mama D could raise them all if she had the finances and the resources. Like I'd sit like 100 of them in one mansion on one property and just really like, can I please take over? Right? Because the great that came from the elders before me, there are parts of it that I feel like even in my shenanigans and silly and all that, there's just some things that happens when I mentor and raise children that it sticks with them, and it's their livelihood. And some of them that have been through the worst will tell you just something simple that I didn't even think had an impact, how that pulled them out of the worst place, right? So, like, looking at it, stop being rebuttal friendly. Stop listening to rebuttal. Like you'll see so many people as they're trying to talk about what happened. And, and I understand, how you're, all the sets of couples that are out there. And now you guys are still friends with the lovers that have split, and you're having to hear both sides. And, if you're kind and if you're nice and you're able to have a conversation where people respect you, then you could say to the other lover, well, okay, when I was speaking to this lover, they were saying that when y'all were together, this is something that you did, that they tried to talk it out with you and you wouldn't stop. And when it became too much, that's when they said it had to be over. And when you're hearing what I'm saying and you're rebuttal, but he, but they, but that, and you're not listening, you're not going to correct it. And you're going to take that ish into your next relationship. You have to listen. You have to hear. And if you can't hear from that person, him or her, because you're so mad at them, then you need to get a mediator. You need to go to therapy. Maybe even see if you can get to that cordial point. That's why cordial is so important. Cordial at the breakup is life. And it's so important because you want to be able to get some feedback as to what's some things that I could have did differently. That's my exit question. That is I'm a runaway bride, so I probably have perfected this on levels others have not. Like, I'm the chick that everyone proposed to, right? And I don't have no arrogance in saying that at all. Like, I don't feel arrogant. If you're receiving that way, look inside, sis, because I'm not saying it like that. Every relationship has been a proposal, but every relationship was not marriage. It wasn't what I visualized marriage to be. And instead of being a runaway bride with this gorgeous hunk of lover that I have now, my therapy and my learning lessons has been in what did I do differently before? Could I have stayed and tried to make that something that could have worked? Was what he did so devastating that I had to walk? Was it something that could have been worked out? When he left me, did I receive everything that I needed to learn about why that person left? Like, everything to be explored. Because that's what makes me a better lover for Brent. Right? And working it out and trying to see when something happens, what's the reason behind it? Going into extreme critical thinking mode. Right? What happened? What's going on? Why did this happen? Right? Extreme critical thinking mode and being vulnerable. Being willing to hear like, out? Okay, ain't nobody told you to be that direct? But laughing after, right? Because people will tell you, and sometimes what they tell you hurts. But they're your lover or they're your ex-lover, and you need to listen. This is a path of something that you've decided to do. At some point, it's something that you expected to go in some direction, right? All right, almost at the 20-minute mark. So, it's more than it's more than it didn't work out. Explore. Make a list. My couples are always making lists. The worst part of the homework that they hate, but they know it's coming, right? Don't coach with D if you're not ready to do the work. Relationships are like workouts. I'll find that old podcast and reshare that one on social media. Find me on social media. iamdeeshields. Hashtag iamdeeshields everywhere. iamdeeshields. And I am on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram the same. Across social media, iamdeeshields. So I'll post that one. Relationships are like workouts. Remember when I told you guys that? I said that years ago. It came to me while I was walking on the track. That's why it sounds so funny, because I was working out. Relationships are like workouts. Hold on. All right. So, I had a chapter that I wanted to read to you. And I wanted to make sure that I read the right chapter from here. So if everyone will give me a second on this break, talk to your friends, share the podcast, tell your friend to tell another friend to tune into the I Am D Shields show. All right. So, the facade of it all, I think, is the one, lovers. Let me get relationship debacle. Let me get where I want to go. Okay, so yeah, the facade of it all. So this will end the podcast. Oh, that probably hurt on the microphone for my listeners. Sorry about that. This will end the podcast. I'm going to read from Remember This, Not Just Anyone Will Do. Of course, that is written by moi. So Remember This, Not Just Anyone Will Do, written by Miss Diva Shields. For those who know, been around long enough, then you know. Miss Diva is the nickname. So written by MZDEEVASHIELDS. If you're trying to find it over on Goodreads, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you like to get your books from, or get them directly from me, Cash App Assist, and I can mail you a copy of the book signed. Remember This, Not Just Anyone Will Do. So I'm going to read from chapter 6. All right. The facade of it all. I'm going to read from chapter 6. All right. And then we're going to close today's podcast and give me some feedback. What are your thoughts? Let me know what you thought. Okay. The facade of it all. There is nothing greater than that moment when the facade is unveiled in a relationship. Did I just say that? There's nothing greater than. There's nothing greater than that moment. A moment that may not feel so great at the time that it is unfolding, yet will serve as that point one will look back on as healing takes place, and will be the moment the heartbroken one will be extremely grateful for. I promise you, after it is all said and done, that moment can be appreciated. From experience, I can reassure you of that. Reading through my books, there are the skeptical few readers who seem to think that possibly I enjoy my heartbreak stories. It is unfortunate that those limited minds took that from what I share. I hope the other readers can completely comprehend that I share my unprecedented amount of heartbreak stories, so that if there are even just 10 men and 10 women out there who grasp something positive from how I overcame and survived, then I have done what I feel it is my purpose to do. In Oprah's masterclass featuring Jay-Z, the words came across the screen, "Never fear the truth." And I begin to take notes, as I always do. The message that comes to me from what he shared is to always keep it real as to who you are, what you have experienced, and never fear that your truth will not serve its purpose for someone, or possibly millions of someone someday. Never fear telling your story. So that is what I do for you all. In each advice book, I share my experiences on subjects that many find difficult to take a long, hard look at. Yet enough of the inspirational sidebar. Here's why I feel the unveiling of the facade you were presented with is actually the best thing for you. Repeatedly in life, heartbreak will hit across our globe, and thousands of people, likely simultaneously, will feel this deep sense of it being some sort of mistake. of it being something that never should have happened. And although it is likely safe to stand behind the notion that the bad romance should have never happened, it is not safe to entertain it as being your lifetime's erroneous moment that you can never learn from or move past. I don't believe in mistakes. It's cliche to say, yet it is the mistakes that make us who we are. It's the mistakes that push us towards who we are to become. There was a reason that this connection came and went. Something is in that reason for you. Focus on that aspect as everything is whirling to an unexpected end. Do not keep your mind on the devastating part of it, although not doing so will not be an easy task for many people. Just remember, things were revealed as the facade was unveiled. Things that you needed and deserved to know about to help you make the decision on what is best for you and where you are headed in life. Embrace that season of bad romance. After all, it may greatly benefit your next season by helping you avoid wrong areas of or types of individuals. Remember this, one sure thing that the bad for you romance will reveal is the facade. Again, that is a great moment, no matter how it feels as it is happening. Sidebar. I'm not saying that how you feel doesn't matter. Okay, you have to insert those little disclaimers. Again, that is a great moment, no matter how it feels as it is happening. Know that I have experienced the unveiling of the facade one time too many in my 39 years. That was then. I'm 47 now, so that was then when I wrote this. I speak from an area of growth that I know you too will reach when it is all said and done. Breakups and loss are an unbearable hurt when they hit. That is the simplistic truth about heartbreak. It hurts. Loss is sometimes less painful for some than others. But if your feelings were genuinely in there, the loss of what was once something really amazing will definitely hurt. For me, as I came to an end on many occasions, no matter how things were hurting, I felt this place existed that was reassuring me that this will work out. You will get past this and be okay. Do not give up on love. There were only 2 times in my life when it took me a really long time to embrace that reassurance that I was hearing. After I left my abusive first marriage and after my husband was killed at war. Those 2 times in my life, it took years to embrace the fact that loving again was possible or even worth my time. Yet, I'm going to have to stop the chapter early. Sorry, you guys. Time is everything. I was able to arrive at that point again, and I had taken more than I realized from those moments of pain. From those moments of pain into an area of maturity and growth towards relationships that I had not known before. It is that which I work all year trying to convey to you all in my books, speaking engagements, and on the talk show. All right, we're going to stop there. That is a great chapter. Continue on reading that if you get a copy. The Facade of It All from Remember This, Not Just Anyone Will Do. Find a copy written by Dean Steve Shields. Find the copies on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or get it one directly from me. Thank you for your time today. I hope that it helped someone. Give me the feedback if it helped you. Twitter, iamdeeshields. Instagram, iamdeeshields. Facebook, iamdeeshields. iamdeeshields. Tell your friend to tell another friend to tune into the I Am D Shields show. I appreciate you.